Hi there, it's Tom again. Um, we're in my basement workshop. Sorry if it's a little bit cluttered. Uh, and today I don't really have a project to show you like I normally do. I don't normally do talking videos. It's mostly, hey, here's how you can build a better mousetrap or deal with the mole or vole problem or chipmunk problem you have, or how to sharpen a knife properly. uh, Repair a tarp. Unfortunately, that's just not what this video is. It is not the sort of video I want my channel to be about, but today's video is mostly about COVID 19 and the current outbreaks. And it specifically stems from an outbreak in my workplace. We had been going along with 1 to 2, on a bad week, 3 cases per week. Then last week we had 5 cases, and then this week, overnight, we had 27 cases and another 20 people waiting for test results. So, what does this mean? Well, we are very deep into another freaking wave. And, it's, hey, how you view it is entirely up to you. Um, what I'm going to say right now is the current data suggests in a highly vaccinated population, you're probably not going to suffer severe effects, statistically speaking. You may be hospitalized, you're probably not in danger of dying. However, we're now a month or so into that wave, and we're now hitting the less vaccinated populations, the more suburban and rural areas, and dependent on how suburban and how rural, there could be a lot of anti mask and anti vaccine sentiment. And, well, while the Omicron variant is highly contagious and breaks through the vaccine easier than the Delta variant did, which until for all this time the Delta one had been the top dog. Uh, Omicron is not hurting vaccinated people as badly as a breakthrough Delta infection did, surprisingly. But hey, good. That part is positive. We don't really have data, and we're not going to for at least a month, on how it works out with the unvaccinated in large numbers. We do know children are being infected a lot more frequently by Omicron than the other variants. Um, we don't know what this means. We don't know if it's going to cause Kawasaki syndrome in kids like the other variants did. Um, while I can't give you like a medical answer on what Kawasaki syndrome is, it's essentially permanent lung damage. Your kid would be immunocompromised permanent for the rest of their life, should that happen, which doesn't happen with every child case, not by a long shot. But we'll see what happens with the new variant, and it's going to be a month or two before we have real details. Now, in my workplace, there's a lot of anti mask and some anti vaccine sentiment. These aren't necessarily, that doesn't make them bad people, it means they disagree. Now, we're union labor, and by and large, we disagree with any rule that we haven't negotiated. Um, like as a matter of policy, we want to say in all things safety, we want to say in, how our business runs, we want to say in how the profits are divvied up. We want to make sure we get our due, and ideally, we want to make sure we go home every day with all 10 fingers and all 10 toes, and we don't ever have to cash in on our death benefits, or our family doesn't have to. Americans in general don't like being told what to do, uh, don't like new safety rules. I'm pretty sure that almost every state in the Union mandated seatbelts back in the 80s, finally, and is in the early aughts, I was still hearing people insisting seatbelts kill more people than they save, which is ridiculous. There aren't many people left around today who will make that claim, but it's the same narrative people make about masks and vaccines, and it's just one of those things that time will bear it out, and that's how it goes. If you're having that discussion at work, even if the other person is upset or agitated, always try to, uh, person to person, be respectful about it. I mean, you have to speak to somebody on a level that they can communicate with. You have to communicate with somebody in the manner that they will understand. If you want to get anything done ever, applies to this too. Uh, so, we got to put the rhetoric down. We can't be saying, how dare you this, my politics that, and freedom. Whatever side you're on, it's always about my freedom. And it's like, look, it's about it's about more than the the buzzwords that are going around. And so, what this is about in my mind is, how can I protect myself? And in a weird way, it's really about how can I protect my community, because that is the best way to protect myself, and how to look after myself, and how to look after my family. And instead of just looking after myself and the people closest to me, I have to look out for the community. It means we have to be a community. We have to work with each other. We have to deal with these things. And surprisingly, people don't want to listen when you curse at them. Weird, right? They don't like being called stupid. In fact, they're less likely to listen to you when you do so. So, when you see some talking head, whether it's on CNN or it's on Fox News or it's on MSNBC, just remember there's some rich guy trying to make more money, and their network is really upset because, well, the Associated Press just released that, hey, the viewership across the board is down between 20 and 30 some odd percent for those major networks. And so they're going to be as sensationalist as they can, and they're going to talk out their rear ends a lot to try to rile up their base and drive up their viewership, because that's what they do. They're there to make money. Now, because my channel is really more about being helpful and showing you things as opposed to my face. I mean, clearly this isn't exactly an anonymous YouTube channel. It's not about putting my face everywhere. It's, here's something useful that I know how to do and you could possibly make use of. And so when I was enlisted in the Coast Guard, I was a machinery technician, but one of the assignments I had for a while on the Coast Guard cutter Active, I was assigned to and trained with the battle dress unit, mostly because despite being a filthy grease monkey, they needed somebody who could lead them through the engine room and machinery spaces. So I had to train with them. I had to learn their things. I had to be a part of their team, even though I was only a part of their team when they came into my realm in the belly of the beast. And one of the big things you had to learn with battle dress unit was treating battle wounds. That's what it is. We're not dress unit because we're tailors. We're the dress unit because we dress wounds. And you're taught to keep your spit to yourself. You have to cover your nose and your mouth so you don't spit an infection into somebody's wound. You don't cough into it. You don't sneeze into it. And when you're talking and communicating with each other, you are spitting. And so you don't spit into the wound. You have to cover your nose and your mouth. We don't always have access to everything you need in the middle of an emergency. So, you made do with what you had. And that's how real life is sometimes. So, when people say cloth mask this and dust mask that, and it's not effective and it needs to be medical, look, in an ideal world, that would be the perfect solution. But right now, yeah, nothing is ideal about this. We just have to try the best we can to keep our spit to ourselves. So, just running through several options. This right here is a very comfortable, however, by itself not very effective mask. It is a pocket mask. It has a pocket right there. And that pocket is a place where you can put a filter. And the filter will actually be much more effective. Normally, I don't think you need a filter in a mask, but with something that lightweight, I can hold it up to my eyes and actually make out shapes and colors through that mask. So it'll catch spit, but not very well. Um, it's very comfortable, but it can be improved by putting one of these carbon filters in it. It'll be a much more effective spit catcher. It is a little bit loose on the sides around your cheeks. It doesn't have a metal piece of a piece of metal that you can fold around your nose, so there can be some gappage there. But still, again, not an ideal solution for not an ideal world. It reduces the viral load that you can transmit when you talk, when you cough, when you sneeze. Now, this is a much more heavier duty, still reasonably comfortable Carhartt double layer cotton polyester blend. I think it's a polyester blend. I think it's like 95% cotton though. And it's got a little bit of elastic. So it pulls on the ears just a bit, but it breaks in and that reduces. It's machine washable, reusable, just like the first one I showed you. And an excellent option to not have to be buying masks every freaking week. Next step up, I somewhat disagree, is a 3-layer surgical mask. These are Safe Act masks, meaning they were manufactured at the height of the pandemic by whoever could manufacture them. They have the metal bit in the top, goes along your nose, you bend it, and so the top effectively seals. But I find they're loose around the sides and the bottom, and sometimes, because they're very cheaply made, these ear loops break off, and that just sucks, which is why I always have several of them when I'm in a facility that requires medical grade. But yeah, I would rather, I'd rather my Carhartt mask over this, but technically this one is a step up. Why is because the Carhartt mask is so fitted. This is not a flat piece at the top. Oh wait, that's the bottom. This piece at the top is not flat. It is contoured specifically to wrap around your face and stay tight to your face. The bottom, you can maybe see it's got that gusset sewn in, so it wraps up tight under your chin, but it's still comfy. So, make of that what you will. And then finally, I have leftover pre-pandemic a box of 3M N95 masks, the real deal, that are damn near impossible to find and are now horribly overpriced due to COVID price gouging, which is very sad. These things, when I bought them, they were so cheap, they had pretty much entirely replaced comfort dust masks in the United States. Comfort dust masks were not rated for anything. They were just a single band that went around the back of your head. They were cheap and they helped, but they weren't as good. Now, these are technically a respirator. They have a micron filtration rating. And frankly, we don't care about the micron filtration rating for disease. We're not trying to filter a virus. You need very specialized equipment for that. But this is the most effective spit catcher ever when it's properly sized for your face. And they do come in multiple sizes, as respirators do. These are nice. Well, I don't know if you find them, they'll still have this, but they had the foam cushion over your nose so it wouldn't chafe. It come with the preformed nose metal piece. And the wonderful thing about N95s, above all the other masks, is the two bands wrap around the back of your head instead of pulling on your ears. I think the people who invented ear pulling masks, well, somebody should beat an apology out of those people. But, hey, what are you going to do? And frankly, because they're hard to come by, I don't use them much except when I'm dealing with something hazardous like drilling into concrete. You don't want to inhale the silica dust that creates. And so if I don't have an effective vacuum to catch the dust, or I can't hose it down with water for whatever reason to keep from inhaling the dust, those are the masks I use. I also use them if I'm going into a hospital or the doctor's office because you're surrounding yourself with people who are immunocompromised. So if you may be infected, you want the highest level of protection you can if you're trying to do that, be a part of the community thing, and care for your community. And in doing so, care for yourself and protect yourself. People don't go to the hospital because they're in good shape. They go because they're in bad shape, or they go because they're visiting somebody who's in bad shape. And so that's why I save that highest level, especially at the prices they go for now, which should be criminal. You know, so yeah, I would recommend you don't waste an N95 if you have it. Some medical professionals are advising you start going to the medical quality. Um, Again, these have a failure problem that I am not at all fond of, so make sure you have spares available. And a high quality face mask made by, well, what I would consider a mostly reputable company is really good. If it fits well, if it holds everything in, well, it helps you keep your spit to yourself. How you go about protecting yourself and how you go about protecting your family is entirely up to you. Um, but I just want you to please consider that by protecting the people around you, you are protecting yourself. And it is more about coming together as a community in order to fix our problems in this case than to simply say, well, I'm just going to do what I want. What is comfortable for me is not going to help. It's more about us instead of me. Uh, with that, good luck, and I wish you a happy new year.